This is the project that you can download from this article. I'm just going to kind of do a basic code walkthrough. As I mentioned earlier, you will have to provide your own engine.jar, which means you have a licensed copy of Matlab, which will allow you to access that. But everything else is included. It's pretty straightforward. This is the main driver class. Looks complicated, but it's not. I'll go over it in a few minutes, but this is mainly just to set up the testing. This class is actually for setting up the two matrices that you're going to multiply. So you've already got them defined here in the constructor, and then you're going to go ahead and when you invoke this method to get A and B matrices, you're going to populate them with new random numbers every time, and then it gets returned in an array list and go from there. This is just a timer class, which is just to record the time. So each timer can be allocated to a specific application or algorithm. So when you load the string, it's going to be whatever the name of that say algorithm that you're timing, and then you can start time, stop the timer. When you do the stop time, it also puts together the final message. You can retrieve the message independently. This gets done internally, not a public method. And then if you just want to get the time itself without any messaging, you can use that method. So this is the standard way of multiplying matrices, and that's all this is. So you have two methods. You load the matrices, and then this is where you multiply them. So you define the matrices, they're rather the product matrix, declare it, and then just do the standard multiplication. Of course, this is the slowest way of doing it. Then this is the same thing, but using the EJML libraries. You load your matrices, and then using the EJML library, you multiply the matrices. This is the same thing, but with Matlab. Now you note that when you build the object, you're going to automatically launch the Matlab engine. And at the very end, when you're done with all operations, you want to also shut it down. But other than that, it has the same two classes. You've got the load matrix, not classes, two methods. You've got the load matrices method, and then you've got the matrix multiplication method. So as we discussed earlier, there's four basic steps. You load the first matrix, mat A, and it's also mat A in Matlab, but that's because I've chosen it to be. You could call it anything you wanted. I was just being lazy using the same variable name. Then loading the second matrix, mat B, and then you tell Matlab what you want it to do, which is matprod equals mat A times mat B, and then you want to get the resultant matrix. So that's where you say, okay, this is the variable I want to retrieve, which is matprod, and that's it. That's all you're doing. So for the actual driver, just have user settings where you're defining the matrix size and then which matrix element do you want to display the value for in the console. So this is the warm-up period right here where you're running Matlab 20 times, the call to Matlab. As we showed in the presentation earlier, it needs to do some optimization, and then it gets the time down, where it's really low, where it's going to stay. So this is the warm-up period, and then this is where we actually compare we run all three algorithms and then display the output. So here we do the conventional multiplication algorithm. This is where we do the EJML multiplication, and then this is where we do the calls to Matlab, and then everything gets displayed. So I'll do a quick run here. We don't need to wait till the end, but let's see, we'll do a quick build. I'll do that first to make sure everything's good. Now it's prepping the Matlab engine. Just means that it's doing the multiple runs to get that time down. And then after that, it'll start doing the basic runs. Okay, so now we're doing, I think it's 40 runs. So there's the conventional, there's the EJML, there's the Matlab output. And I'll go ahead and stop it because this thing's just going to keep going. So this is the result of the conventional multiplication, 3,191 milliseconds for EJML. It's 527 milliseconds for Matlab. It's 51 milliseconds. And that's pretty much it. So the main thing is just demonstrate that it's worthwhile having the Matlab API to take advantage of all of the high performance functions that they have.